So you're thinking about hiring a video editor that can take your videos from looking like this to this. Where do you find a great editor? How do you make sure you hire the right person? And do you even need to hire a video editor? Can you just do it yourself? Can you leverage some of these AI-based editing tools? You'll have the answers to all of these questions and more in this video. So let me start by tackling that last question. Do you even need to hire a video editor these days with all the different AI-based video editing tools and apps and softwares? Because we've got things like Descript, where I can basically plug in a raw video. In the matter of seconds, I can have that transcribed. I can remove the filler words, use silence detection to remove any unwanted silence in the video. With the click of a button, I can add auto captions and customize the styles. And I can add graphics and pictures and a lot of other things in the actual video. And there's also tools like Opus Clip, where I can take one long form video and use AI to chop up a bunch of micro clips. They'll actually curate and pull out the best clips that have a hook in the first couple seconds and a good message to go along with it. Not only will they pull out all these clips, but AI will actually go through and edit the videos with auto captions. They'll add some graphics here and there. And of course, you can customize the style and that kind of stuff too. And not only does it provide you the transcription for every video, but it also gives you a title for every video. And you can even auto post directly to the social media platforms in the app. As you can imagine, this technology is only going to get better, but as it sits now, there's definitely some clips that I pull and use directly without even touching it. There's some clips that maybe I change where the clip starts or where it ends. I just tweak a couple things. And then there's some clips that I'm like, yeah, this just isn't usable. There's not a complete message there, or the hook isn't good enough, and I just end up scrapping them. But if you don't have the resources to hire a video editor, or you don't have a content director or social media manager managing your video content and your workflow, and you're doing this yourself, this could be a great option. But regardless what tools you use or don't use, you need a human involved in this process. Now, we currently use Descript and we use Opus Clip because I'm a big fan of let's use the AI tools as they become available, but let's still use the human creativity and the storytelling and the elite editing styles that we can do as humans that AI just can't do yet. Because if I'm being honest, if I compare an elite editor that we would hire versus what AI can do right now in terms of editing and pulling clips, curating content, it's not even close. But that's now. That's today. Now, on the flip side, if I compare what a human can do in terms of how fast they can curate, how fast they can transcribe, how fast they can build a foundation for a transcription to a blog post or to a newsletter, how fast they can do a lot of these things that AI is good at, AI is going to smoke the human. It's not even close. So there's pros and cons to this. You just got to understand that when you're coming into something like this. I think for basic short form videos, AI is going to be really, really good over the next few years. For longer form, more complex videos, the human editor that uses AI tools is going to dominate the next few years. Okay, so now that we got that part out of the way, let's dive into the 5-step process on how to hire a great editor. The very first thing you want to do is get clear on what you're actually looking for in a video editor. Do you need this person to film some of the content for you or your subject matter experts? Do you need them to be able to curate the content, which means they have an understanding of content marketing, your brand, what your audience cares about? They're pulling the clips out and selecting which ones would perform best. Or do you just need them to straight up edit? But if you need them to straight up edit, is it long form videos for what social media platforms? Because someone might be great at creating vlog style videos or wedding videos or high production videos, but then you ask them to edit social media videos and they're lost. They don't understand the formatting, the styles, the in and outs, that every couple seconds something needs to change. So just get clear on what you really want out of this video editor. What skills do they need to have? What applications or softwares do they need to be able to use? And what really is their role in your team? The second thing you want to determine is, do you want this person in-house, offshore, or outsourced? Let me break down the differences. When I say in-house, I'm referring to an actual employee that you would hire that typically would be somewhat close to you, so they could perform a lot of the functions at your actual company. In most cases, this is typically the most expensive way to go, but it can yield amazing results on the back end because that person is literally part of your company and they're with you day to day. They know your team, they're filming with you, they're editing with you. They get exposed to things that helps them do their job better every single day. And from a leadership and management standpoint, it's just much easier to have someone that's actually part of your team. The other option would be offshore, which just basically means this person's kind of an employee of the company, and you could offer benefits and other packages too, depending on how you want to structure this, but they may be located in another country. Now, a lot of times with this route, you can save on a lot of cost. But then of course you've got things like they're not going to be in person with you. They may be on different time zones. There could be communication barriers. So there's some challenges that come with that too. From my experience, if you go offshore, treat them like an in-house employee. Take care of your people and they will take care of you. And then lastly, you've got outsourced. Now this is typically two core things. One, you're using freelancers, which you can find on various sites that we'll talk about here in a second. Or two, you work with an agency that has already hired talented video editors or content talent, and they supply them trained and ready to go day one. The nice thing about the agency is they're typically managed, they're paid, they're taken care of by the agency, and they're trained and ready to go day one. You're not doing sourcing, you're not doing interviewing, you're not doing training, onboarding, any of that stuff. They just, they're plug and play. But of course, the other side of that is there's going to be some additional cost on there for that company to be able to perform those services. Now, if you go freelancing, that's typically the most cost-effective way to hire a video editor, and specifically if you open it up internationally, because you can find good talent that's located in areas where maybe the cost of living is way lower than it is, for example, here in the States. So you can still pay them a good wage, but the way it transfers is it's way less expensive than hiring somebody here. The cons of that is that sometimes you get reliability issues. These people are focused on a lot of other projects. You may not be their top priority in many cases. And of course, you got to go through all the sourcing, interviewing, screening, hiring, developing, all that type of stuff. The third step is sourcing. Where do you find the talent to begin with? Here's a few places that you might want to look. There's actually a good amount of video editors that are on LinkedIn. Some of them aren't posting content consistently, but if you just do a search on video editors, you're going to get a good amount of people that come up. And of course, you could always leverage referrals. When you see other people creating video content, ask them, hey, do you know anybody? Who did you get your video editor from? How did you guys set it up? You've got job boards, both domestic and internationally. And for freelancing, you've got things like Upwork and Fiverr. And the fourth part of this process is evaluating and screening talent. So now you've got the talent, but now you've got to talk to them and have some conversations around, are they going to be a good fit for you, your company, and what you're looking to accomplish? And are you going to be a good fit for them and what their goals are and what they want to accomplish? So you can see this is why number one was so important, because now that we're clear on what we actually want this person to be able to do and their role on the team, now we can start framing up questions that align with that. If you're looking for somebody long-term, the very first place I go in all this is, what do they want to accomplish? What are their goals? What is their vision? And I'm not talking like, hey, 10 years out, tell me what your plan is. That's probably too far ahead, but just think about, hey, in the next 12 months, what's the best case scenario for you? What do you want to have happen? Because we'd love to be a vehicle that could hopefully help you get there. We want to be an opportunity that you look at and see, as this opportunity could get me closer to where I want to be in life. But once we talk through that, you definitely want to be evaluating things like skills. What types of videos have you done? What's your experience? Is it social media videos, long form videos? What really is it? And then I look at the soft skills and the values and what their mentality and their mindset is. So I may ask them behavioral based questions around, hey, so you get a video back and it's your second or third revision now, and there's still errors with it. What do you do? What's your mindset around that? How would you handle if I gave you a video and I said, hey, I want it done this way, and you found out that there was a better way to do it? What would your approach be? How would you handle that situation? So I'm gonna ask these questions because I wanna figure out how they think. I wanna know things like, what technology are they using that they're excited about? What have they experimented with in AI in the last 3 months? Are they willing to unleash their creativity and try new things? Or are they scared to fail? And I'd have them give me an example of a time they tried something new. They thought it was gonna work, it didn't, it failed. What happened? How'd they handle it? What did they learn from it? What was their mindset? Now, given how visual editing is, you definitely want to see sample reels from this person. And in some cases, you may even want them to do a test video. In certain circumstances, that may be a free test video where it's 15, 20 seconds and they do something for free. If they pass that, they move on to paid stuff. In some cases, if they're already established and they're really good and you've seen their videos, you move right into the paid test videos. But I would make sure before you pull the trigger long-term that you've actually had them edit a couple videos first, because highlight reels can be misleading sometimes. And you want to make sure it's actually their work. And finally, the fifth part of this process is you hire the person. You bring them on. Now, there's a whole separate video I could probably do on onboarding talent, training and developing your video editor and your content talent. I'm not going to get into that here because really this video was to how do you hire a great video editor. But the one thing I will say about bringing on new talent, specifically video editors, is you need to make sure that you've got the playbooks, the guides, the SOPs in place before that person starts. If you don't, you're going to end up spending 1 to 2 to 3 months trying to figure all this out. It's going to make for a bad experience for the editor and a terrible experience for you. So it's not just hiring somebody great, it's knowing how to develop them and train them and coach them and give them the things they need to be successful once they're in. And that's how you hire a great video editor. Any questions you got from here, drop them in the comments. I'll jump in there and answer them. We'll see you next time.